My name is Dmitry Tomasov and I'm head of technical department at TECHNO-AC Russia, and we are starting new series of our training videos which will be completely dedicated to in-depth guide how to use TECHNO-AC locators and detectors. And today's video will be completely dedicated to AP-19 receiver family, and as an example of such receiver we're going to talk about AP-19.3, which is a GPS based cable and pipe location receiver. And we have another model in this family which is called AP-19.1. It's a similar model, but it doesn't have GPS module and it doesn't have PVC pipe location mode. The rest will be the same, and all the instructions given in this video will be similar for both models of receivers and for all versions of the software which is inside this equipment. Let's turn on the receiver by pressing and holding power button. You hear the start music and the voltage of your batteries, and basically you are ready to go with the location. When the receiver is loaded, you can see the black line indicating the nearby cables or pipes, and it means that on default the receiver started in route mode, and you can see the following parameters indicated on its screen. Top left corner is the type of the signal, continuous or pulse. Then you can see 50 Hz frequency, which is industrial power frequency for energized cable location. Then you can see a constantly changing value below the frequency, which is numeric indication of signal level. The higher this value is, the stronger electromagnetic signal. And on the top right corner you can see the gain of electromagnetic signal in dB and the battery status of your current power source. In our case these are 4 R14 batteries. In the bottom left and bottom right corners there are 2 quick menus for the switch of the most demanded modes for the location. On default you will be using route mode mostly, and you will be switching to most demanded modes by using these quick shortcuts. When you are locating the cable or pipe, it is represented by black line on the screen. In order to check the depth of this cable or of this pipe, you have to place the black line in the middle of your screen, between 2 black lines. And in this case, you will see the depth and current rate of the utility that you are looking for at the current moment. You don't have to press any buttons, you don't have to do anything beside placing the black line in the middle of the screen. If the cable or the pipe is far from your current position, it will be indicated with black ball or with vague line on the screen of the receiver. You can see the attached screenshot for more reference. In order to get the best indication of the located cable or pipe, you have to hold the receiver 90 degrees to the ground surface. It is crucially important to hold it like this in order to get the most correct values of depth and position of the located utility. In order to open the menu of the receiver, we have to press power button shortly. And the first menu available for the setting is the frequency filter of the receiver. On default, you can see that the filter is set to 50 Hz, and you can switch this setting to 100 Hz, 512 Hz, 1 kHz, 8 kHz and 33 kHz. The difference between these frequencies is that some of them are used in active tracing mode, some of them are used in passive tracing mode, and almost all of them comply to the frequencies supported by TECHNO-AC transmitters, which are used for dead cable location. Let us stick with 50 Hz for today's video, but when we are going to talk about the transmitters, we will be using different frequencies. Second menu is the gain. As our receiver is electromagnetic, we can adjust the gain of incoming signal. In route mode, the gain is set automatically, but other modes support manual increase of the gain, increase and decrease of the gain. By using arrow keys, you can change the gain. If you are trying to do this in route mode, you can see this message. In this mode, the gain is automatic. Then another menu entry, which is a signal type, and this menu is also used for communication with the transmitter. Your transmitter, manufactured by TECHNO-AC, has several options for signal change, and the first one is continuous, which makes the signal look like the line changing from up and down, and pulse, which is not available on 50 Hz, but still available for your setting on the frequencies supported by the transmitter. In this case, the signal is sent from transmitter in pulses, and it saves battery time for the transmitter. On default, we use only continuous mode. Lower sensor setting is also used for the filtering of incoming signal on a particular frequency. When we are going to talk about other modes, I will give you more explanation on that. On the top right corner, there is a mode selection menu, and on default you have a limited selection of modes, which is called basic, and we can switch it to advanced set of modes. I will show it to you a bit later, but let us see what is the list of basic modes. The route mode, which is familiar to you, graph mode, which represents electromagnetic signal as constantly moving graph. The higher the black segment of the graph, the higher the signal level. Relative distance with moving graph. In this mode, the signal level is also accompanied by the depth measurement. So the device in this mode constantly measures the depth and locates the cable. This mode is used for the location of multiple cables laying nearby and for the accurate depth measurement. And basically this is it. These are all the modes supported in basic mode. Other extension modes are available in extended set of modes. Let us stick with route mode for now, and we will go to another menu which is called sound. This menu is enabling and disabling the sound representation of incoming signal. You can see I have turned on the indication, and any change of electromagnetic signal is accompanied by constantly changing sound. Usually we have this option turned off because it can be annoying, but generally if you are working in a highly noisy area and you need another option for signal level indication, you can turn this option on and use it on your site in order to have more accurate incoming data. And this particular option, which is called GPS, is only available in AP-19.3 and it's not available in AP-19.1. This particular option enables GPS, and it indicates the remaining memory of your receiver. You can see that we have several switches here, which is on and off, and we have available free memory. Its capacity 2300 points, which can be stored in the device's memory and later uploaded through built-in USB port to your personal computer or laptop. In the bottom you can see the switch for complete erasing of your memory and for complete erasing of the whole data stored in the device. Here is the settings menu, and it can switch the language of the equipment. Basically, this equipment is supplied in English, but it's also available in Russian. Other languages can be added upon your request. Then you have your mode select, which is basic now. Let us switch it to extend, and you will see that there will be much more modes available in the mode menu. By the way, you can see that when I'm switching the set of modes, the icon in the top right corner is also changing. So when we have basic mode, there is only one screen available on the icon. When we switch to the extended mode, there are two screens, and it means that extended mode selection is activated. Also, you can change measurement units from meter to feet, and if you are living in imperial measurement system, you can switch and use the feet. Also, you can switch your power frequency. For Europe it's 50 Hz, for the US it is 60 Hz. It depends on your country. You have also this option here. Then you can switch off and on sound of your keys when you're pressing them and when you're browsing the menu. Backlight level is the backlight of your screen. You can adjust it from 0 to 100% by continuously pressing left and right arrow keys. Delay of the menu is the time when the menu is deactivated if nothing happens. Let us increase it to 5 seconds. And pop-up hints. It's a newly added point of the menu which activates the help system of the receiver. For example, if we are using the route mode and the signal is not very good, in some moment you will see a message appearing in the screen which will propose you to switch to a graph mode, which is actually used for the low signal conditions. But this time we're going to make it manually, and to do that we're going to use the graph shortcut in the bottom left corner of the screen. We press the up button once, and there is a moving graph appearing in the bottom of our screen. This graph is constantly moving, and current signal level can be seen in the right side of this graph. If the graph is growing, it means that we are approaching the cable or the pipe. If the black segment of the graph is decreasing, it means that we're moving away from our utility and that we have to move closer. Unfortunately, this particular mode doesn't support depth measurement, but still it can be used for the detection of cables and pipes in the conditions when the incoming signal is too low to measure their depth. In order to make the signal more distinguishable, you can manually change the gain by pressing left and right arrow keys, and also you can change the scale of your graph by pressing up and down keys. You have to up to 8 more magnification, 8 more positions of magnification here, but generally we're using only one basic scale of the signal, and in most cases this is more than enough. As I told you, you can switch between different values of your gain in dBs, but don't play with this option too much, because you will get incorrect values if you set the gain too high or too low. So I recommend having almost half of the screen covered with the black segment, and when you will be locating the cable, you will be able to see that the signal is increasing, and you can distinguish it among the normal noise level of electromagnetic field. So this is what the graph mode is. Let us hide it by pressing the down button for 1 second. And there is another mode which is similar to graph mode, but it has one important option. it is relative distance mode, and you can see that it is activated by short pressing the right arrow key in route mode. And in this case, the signal level is indicated by the minimum of the graph. You can see here on the right that the signal is almost absent, but still in the middle you can see that the depth is available, the depth measurement is available, but it's not the exact depth of the located cable or pipe. It's a relative value, which means that this is the distance you have to go in order to reach the cable or the pipe. Suppose you are standing a little bit right or left from the cable and you don't know where you have to go and you need some guidance. You can turn this mode on, and by following the numeric indication of the distance or of the depth, they are similar in some case, you can approach the cable or pipe which you are going to look for and which you are going to trace. And then by following the graph indications, you can track the minimum signal, and when you track the minimum signal, you can adjust the position of the cable on the screen, and you can get the most correct and the most accurate depth value of the located utility. This mode also has scale change with up and down arrow keys. Usually I'm using it on 2 or 1 scale, and the gain here is making the signal even lower than it was before, and this is basically everything I can tell about this mode. Let us switch to another mode which are available in extended set of modes. Let us recollect what we already discussed. Route mode, which is a default mode for this receiver, graph mode, relative distance graph mode, and here is the graph plus mode, which is similar to graph mode, but it has one important difference. Another mode which is similar to graph mode is called graph plus mode, and it is used for the location of shallow energized cables which are not visible on any other frequency except for 50 Hz. For example, we are using our transmitter on 1 kHz frequency. Let us switch it to 1 kHz. And you can see that the setting in the top left corner changed to 1 kHz. And this is the setting which is indicated by the bottom graph on the receiver. But the upper part of the screen is working in route mode, and it indicates the 50 Hz energized cable which is laying nearby. So in this case we can tell that there is no cable to which we have connected our transmitter, but there is energized cable somewhere, and we have to be careful in order to prevent the damage of this cable and in order to not follow its path. Then we have min and max mode, and this is where we have to use our lower sensor setting. This mode combines two moving graphs. The upper graph indicates the minimum signal and the lower graph indicates the maximum signal. And generally what you have to do here is to make both signals be minimum and maximum at the same time in the same place in order to locate the cable or pipe accurately. This mode is mostly used for the accurate location of cables and pipes. I mean the cores of these cables and the pipes. The most accurate location is available in this mode, but it doesn't support the depth measurement. It only supports the positioning of the utilities. Also, you can see a shortcut in the upper part of the screen which says hold up arrow key to change LS mode. Your receiver has an option to operate only the lower sensor mode, and let us hold the up arrow key, and we will see that the bottom graph setting changed to WB, which means wideband. In this mode, the receiver is getting the signal in all electromagnetic range, And in this mode it can help you locate any other metal object below ground surface, because any metal object emits a certain electromagnetic frequency, and this is how you can check if there is something below the ground surface, and if there's something you have to take care of. When you switch the lower sensor to radio mode, it means that it will receive only radio frequencies in the range of 8 to 40 kilohertz, and in this mode you can try to check if there are any telecom cables or copper phone cables or something like that, and this graph will also indicate if there is something on the radio frequency nearby. And then by pressing and holding up arrow again, you can switch to your preset frequency, which we have initially enabled. Let us back to the menu, and we will have minimum and relative distance graph, which we have seen before, and basically this is the same graph indicating the same information of minimal signal and relative distance. Then we have a two frequency mode or friend or foe mode, which can help you understand the signal direction. It is activated only when you use the receiver with the transmitter, and the transmitter sends two frequencies simultaneously in your cable or in your pipe. In the top left corner of the screen you can see that the frequency indication says 1 + 8 kilohertz. It means that receiver tries to get the signal on these two frequencies combined, and when there is such signal you will be able to see the signal direction in a corresponding window and the calculations of these frequency deviations in the middle and in the right side of the screen. Also below you have two scales which represent the signal level of each particular frequency, 1 kilohertz and 8 kilohertz simultaneously. Generally, signal direction window is the most important window which you may need in this particular mode. Another mode which we're having here is so-called sonde mode, which is used for PVC pipe location. In order to activate it, you have to place our MAG sonde inside the plastic pipe, and by following the signal coming from this sonde, you can measure its depth by holding down button, and you can follow the position of this sensor by following the max graph, which is not currently available because we don't have any MAG sensor nearby. But generally it works the same way as graph mode, but it also supports the depth measurement by pressing and holding down button. And basically these are all the modes we have in our receiver, and some of them are used more often and others are used seldomly. That is why we recommend to use the basic set of modes in most cases. If you are not working in a particular cable fabrication industry or in power industry, you can have your modes set to the basic, and this is more than enough for you to locate most of the cables and pipes. While we're talking, the device is still trying to get the GPS signal from the satellites from the space, and it can't do this in these particular conditions because we're inside the building, and the GPS module is used for outdoors GPS signal reception. Today we had in-depth guide how to use AP-19.3 and 19.1 utility location receiver. I hope that this equipment became more clear and usage of this equipment became more obvious to you. Stay tuned for our new videos. Next time we are going to talk about location transmitters and other receivers and locators manufactured by TECHNO-AC Russia. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you press the notification button to be first to know about our new videos. Thank you very much. Bye bye.